Welcome to the Plan 6 part video. Welcome to the next part of tr6 engine rebuild. So in the last one we had put the crankshaft in, put the casings on, and we checked the end flow for the crankshaft. So during that I put the front casing on, I put the rear oil seal casing on, which is pretty straightforward, and I just started to push the front engine plate on. Now, just before I go a little further, I wanted to say something. So, these, your front and rear, the rear seal casing and this casing here, or the block, whatever you want to call it, are different to this. So, where is it? Here it is. These are a light metal. Now, when I went to put this on, here's the rear oil seal, and it's pretty straightforward. The oil seal, you just tap it out with a hammer. And then you turn it around, you make sure it's clean, and you just tap the new one in nice and easy, and it goes in. All right, you can push it in or press it in if you want, but it's pretty straightforward. Anyway, in the process of cleaning this, so I gave it a little clean. I'd obviously grind it down this way a bit and shined it off to for the gasket, and I've done the same with the bottom. And then I realised and seen something. So, as you can see, this is the one that belonged off the engine. It's been absolutely ripped apart. So there's no treads in there. And this part here is even, you can see, just being chunked away. Now the reason for that is quite simple. That's somebody who simply over-torqued them. So it's in there, somebody goes to put the sump on, or the oil pan, whatever you want to call it, whatever way. Put it on and just cranked it, and it's such light metal it just obliterated. Although to be taking a chunk out there is that's pretty harsh. So you have to be mindful of that when you put these pieces on, because they are very soft, and when you put the sump on, so the two front and two back are only literally hand tight. They're very easily threaded. So just be mindful when you do that. So this one that goes in the bin, that's gone. So if you want to see, I know I didn't show you me putting this on, but I do have another video. So if you check out my other videos, you'll see the one I have for putting this piece on and how I do it. Other than that, I put the gasket on, I'm putting the plate on right now, and I slipped in the camshaft. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to put the plate on with the camshaft in, and we're going to do the end flow for the camshaft. So, where am I now? Now I have to find my socket, which I left somewhere. Where it is. So when we put this on, up here you have bolts and screws. I put the two bolts in, as well as the one in the middle. It would be helpful if I had the right size on this. Oh, I'm not getting anywhere. Ah, that's better. Now, you want to put this in just hand tight for now. There is a torque setting for it, but I put it in hand tight. The reason is though, because when you're doing your end flow for your camshaft, there's a certain amount of play. You're allowed to have 4 to 6 thou of an inch play. There is a way of adjusting it to get that, and I'm going to explain that now, because some things you do counteract another. So, you know, you got myself pinched there for a second. So make sure you put these on a good hand tight, because the difference, if you have this loose, it can make a difference on tightness. Right, we'll do the center one. So there's the torque set now. Actually, I'm going to bring this down so you can see it a little easier. Now, when you put this plate on, usually, as I said, there's usually one in the middle. That's usually where you hang it on with, and then these two. However, because up here goes over a tab, what I do is I put an extra bolt up this end to keep the plate in flat, because it's meant to be in flat anyway. And I'll put this in. I'll check the end float, and then I just take it back out again. It's only going in to make sure that the plate is fully flat against the back of it. Obviously, you make sure you put your gasket in behind. And you may have to take it back off. And I'm going to explain that now in a second as soon as I have this buttoned up. Alright, that should be tight enough. Alright, so here's our camshaft. So if you take it out, let me just... Oh. Doggies are giving out there. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the key and we're going to put it in here. And basically when it sits in, it's the amount of play you have for this to move based on the key going in. Now, actually, you know, I have to go get the key. Let's go for a walk and let's go get the key for it. So I forgot it. Now, here's some old keys. So, I was going to pick one to start with. And we'll just see, because well, yes, I haven't cleaned it, but I want to try first to see where I am first. Because there's a few things I probably will have to do to it. So, you want to get referred to as, like anything, a baseline distance of where you are. So the key goes in. It goes in, obviously the open side faces down here. Hang on, I'll go get my bolts. Again, you don't want to torque these yet until you know everything's within spec. Now these are meant to be tightened up to 20 pounds of pressure, 20 to 22. I start at 20 and see where I am. Now it's obviously important that you actually torque that one first. Alright, so set it to 20. Because you want to make sure you have the right torque setting to see what your actual gap is. Alright, so now, first of all I'm going to check to see if the cam move. Alright, so there is some play in it. If that didn't move at all, then you have a problem. Does it mean that there's a problem with the key or anything? No, there could be a number of different things. So, let me lower down here, see. So when we're looking, sorry because of the glare. When we're looking at the camshaft, it will tell you to measure the distance between the inside lip here and the key. So this little space here. So some will put feeler gauge in here. To me, to be honest, that looks like it's moving, but looks like a pretty much zero play on it. We'll find out now, but I'm pretty sure there's no play left on that. So I'm just going to get in the way. Alright, back up again. So now we're going to measure the distance in which it moves. So I'm going to put a little bolt in here just so I can actually pull it. Right. So without touching the gauge, because I don't have to zero it in yet, that looks like it's moving pretty much. When it's in, it's at like 61 there, just over. If I pull it, see, so we're looking at less than 1/10 of an inch space. That's no good. Now, what can cause that? That's not a brand new key, so what could it be? Well, actually, the answer is quite simple. Paint. So, let me zoom out. This plate I've painted. So normally it's, when it comes to the factory, I believe it's not painted at all. So therefore here is just bare metal. So because of that, think of the paint. You're looking at the amount of paint that's being put on it, and that's the difference. So if you think about it, you sand it down, you put some primer on it, and then maybe, let's say 2 coats of paint, maybe a bit of clear coat, you could be adding 8 thousandths of an inch just on paint alone onto that. And that's where you lose it here. So how do you counteract for that? Now, if that was the other way around and I put this on and I went to move it and I had bigger, let's say I had up to 10 thousandths of an inch, and I said, well, that's too big. Well, then what we can do is we can take the plate back off and put another gasket behind, double the gasket up, and that will solve the end plate, but hopefully. I hadn't, the other engine I was doing, I had the same, not the same issue, but the play was so big. I was running at about 14 tel play. And no matter what I'd done, I could not get it to come down any further. And in the end, I found out it was actually the groove in the camshaft itself. So obviously, somebody put it in. Somehow it was torqued in too much, and it wore down a ring on the camshaft. So the play in the cam was way too big. The only way I could have solved that was to get a bigger key. But to be honest, a brand new key wouldn't have done anything. So in the end, it simply boiled down to this being gone. So I ended up getting rid of it, putting a different cam in, and it worked out perfect. So with this one, what we have is the paint. So I've literally 1/10, so I have to basically scuff the best part of 4/10 of an inch off the key, or the retaining plate. But actually, there's a few names for it. Right, so knowing that, we're going to take it off. We're going to go in and go down. So right now we're at 1/10 of an inch. That's where I am. So that's where you want to see where you are to start. Like I said, if with the amount of paint, if it was that thick of paint, like that amount of paint you put on, it probably wouldn't move at all. And that's pretty much where I got with the other one. When I put the new different cam in, it literally had zero movement because you've brought it out with the paint. The key sticks out further. I call it the key. I believe the name of it is the camshaft guide. Camshaft guide. The name I think is called I know it says guide somewhere. Anyway, let's go in and grind this down. So that's the reason why I didn't touch it to begin with. Now, you could argue and say, okay, well, maybe there's a bit of dirt or whatever on it. That's it. Absolutely, it could be. However, we're going to give it a good shine now anyway. So how am I going to grind this down? Quite simple actually. So again, I'm going to get a die grinder, and if you ever have these coarse heads, you can get them in like Princess or Summers of 40. You just pop off. So you replace them. They're great. I love these. I do them for the heads and everything, and they're great at polishing. I'll use it for this head that I got. Came out the sandblaster. So obviously it's going to get noisy now. So if you have the volume put up, I'd suggest you lower it down. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to put my defenders on myself because it really rings the ears. obviously going to concentrate more into the middle than the outside. Now, this is going to be hot. Just happen to have a bucket of stuff here. Whew. Right, cool it down. What I'll do now is I'm going to swap it around and do the other side. That's the side I just done, nice and shiny. So I'm going to do this, and you can see there's a bit of a lip on it. I can feel it. So basically, I'm going to grind it to that lip is out. That should be enough to get me through. Oh, there it goes. Ah, dropped it again. Right, now she should be nice and clean. So, I don't know if you could hear me with the compressor going in the background. So, I grinded out the little lip that was on it. I smoothed it down, and now it looks nice. So, let's go put it back on the engine and see where we are. The old compressor running in the background. And you might have to do this a couple of times to see where you are. And obviously it's nice to have some spare keys, because if you grind down too much, then obviously it's no good. But again, if you grind this too much and you have too much plate, well then just take the plate off and add another gasket at the back, and that will reset you. Oh, I can hear again now. Now again, this is between 4 and 6/10 of an inch. I can hear the bit of play in it. Let's see where we are. Alright, this time I'm going to zero it out. So I'll make sure she's in all the way. Alright. Make sure she's not in a groove. Just, you want to make sure when you do this that she's not sitting in a groove. She's sitting nice and open, so I wasn't happy with it there. Now again, you don't have to zero it out, I always say that. As long as you know what number it's on, like wherever it is, it could be anywhere, as long as you know what it's on, that's fine, just count from there. Alright, so let's see where we are now. So I think we are at, 3 tail, with me. That looks just a little side of 0. So ideally we want to aim for 5. So we're coming up to just about 3. So that's 3/1000 of an inch. So we need to take another 1/1000 of an inch off it. So back to the grinder. And hopefully this should be the last time. Again, you have between 4 and 6. So if I done all that grinding and I took, what did I take off? I had less than 1, and after 3 I only took 2 tail. Well then, if I grinded the same amount again, I'd take 2 and I'd be up to 5. Perfect. So it's not always about, you just have a key that's worn down, like it says. If you didn't paint this and you had a key that was worn down, it was the only key you had and it was beyond putting an extra gasket on it, then yeah, go paint it. That's it. So like paint it. If you're too big of a gap, and you put an extra gasket on, it's still too big, like it says, go stick a layer of paint on it and that will solve the problem. Alright, let's go back to the grinder again. Which side will I grind on? At this stage it's a little irrelevant. I'm going to look for which side is the smoothest though, and do, oh, should I say which side is the roughest. Here, defenders on again. Again, turn the volume down. Obviously there's no way I'm picking this up. Hopefully it goes in the bucket this time. Alright, because I've done it, I learned the hard way. I picked it up, this gets hot. Alright. Let's take our key, that's nice and shiny again, and let's try again. I have faith that it's going to be spot on this time. Again, the torque setting is between 20 and I think it says 24 in the book. So you could always go 22. It's that little. Like, if this is good, I'll torque it to 22 and just to make sure. So I'll go in between. All right. Oh, we're almost on 0 already. Okay. All right, so we're bang on 0. So let's see where we get. That's 0, and that is 4 tau. Perfect. So remember, it's going to be between 4 and 6. So the fact that I was able to wear down to 4 gives me 2 tau play over time. So that's even better again. So I'm happy with that. So, just because of that, I'll double check. I'll put the torque setting on the 22. Hopefully I don't have to do it again. Making sure it's not in the groove. So I said the 22. I'd say that's pretty much, well, whatever I'm looking at through the phone here, I'm going to go with that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's so close, isn't it? Should take a tiny little bit more off. Yeah, it's just, looks like it's just shy of 4 now that I put the 22. So, okay. Do you know what? I don't think you need to see me do it again. So, what I'll do is, I'll go and take another little skim off that. And I'll do it. Only because, you can see the difference. Only because I torqued it to 22 and not 20, I lost half a tau. So, you see the difference in that. So if you're going to torque it to 24, which, hang on, let me look at the book. What does it say in here? So this will be the clutch, where are we? Engine, time and stumps and rudder, engine, rear engine, plate gearbox, plate attachment pump. Alright, there's the cam. Sorry, it's on a different page now this week. I'm trying to find where I've seen this now. I know it was at 24, 22, 24. So here, I don't know if you can see this. Front engine plate and cam locating plate. So that'd be the locator. I call it a key. I don't know why. And that's 22. So 22 pounds. So that's exactly what it is. So yeah, I'll take a little skim off that. And I'll, just to be sure. No, I just want to make sure, because you have between 4 and 6. So if it's not bang on 4, it's so close. So close. It's like, oh, 0.2 of a tau. Like 200 tails off. That's how close it is. But yeah, I'll do that. Anyway, so that's it. That's it for this video. So once I get that done, what I'll move on to then is we will, I'll turn it around and I'll start putting some pistons in. The pistons are going to go in once I get them on. I do have another video on putting the pistons in, so like I'm just going to head and throw them in. And if you do want to see a video on how to install them, I do have another video, so that way I'm not dragging this on any longer. And then we're going to go and start getting into our timing. So we're going to start timing the engine. So we're going to start looking for our TDC and our TDC on the cam. We're going to mark all them up. We're going to start putting our chains on, and we're going to start looking at the cam itself and see where should it be. Again, I have more videos on that. If you check out my other videos, you'll see all about timing, but we're going to do it on this. I'm going to shortcut it a bit because I do have a video that explains the whole lot. But yeah, there's always a way of adjusting it. So in this case, again, if you have too much play on your end flow, you either add another gasket in behind the front plate. If that's not the case and you still have too much play and you haven't painted this, I suggest maybe paint it. But then check your camshaft itself, check the cam itself, and check in between the grooves, like the channels. Make sure it's not worn down or you see a lip, because it could simply just be worn down, no good, replace it. It costs about what, $250, between $250 and $350 thereabouts for a brand new camshaft. So always check that first. And if it's the other way around, like I said, we've done here where we have 0 because I painted it, well then, you see, just grind down the key until you get the appropriate play. So that's how we can adjust it and always have the right amount. So if your key's a little worn, I suggest put more paint on this. All right, that's it. See you in the next part where we have some pistons in and we'll start doing some timing. So again, thanks for watching, and any comments, questions, concerns, I'll help you out as best I can, and see you in the next part.